Happy.
Super happy. Thrilled.
I'm glad. I'm so glad. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
We were having some technical difficulties a moment ago. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, Henry. Oh, God. My dog just peed everywhere.
That's why Henry can't be on the Facebook Live.
Oh, Lord. Henry Winkler.
I don't even know what's happening right now. So, well, I mean, there's no one watching. But if anyone thinks of questions, you just let us know. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day today. There is one person watching me now.
Well,
I hope that you have a great day. Dr. Hogan's dog just peed all over the floor, so she's cleaning that up as we speak. Of course, he waited until we started the Facebook Live to pee.
Come here, friend. Of course.
Come
on in.
You're not in trouble, buddy.
You're not in trouble, baby. You're drunk. It's not your fault.
He's drunk at work. All right. So,
I'm back.
Do you have your song?
I do.
Okay.
Henry, you want to dance to the song? He's like, I refuse to go on Facebook Live.
Come on, bud.
I'm not doing it. Come on. I don't fit there, Crystal. I don't fit there.
What are you
He's
doing,
asleep
man?
in the couch.
Henry, come on. So,
There you go.
yeah. So today we are talking about one of my favorite topics, breeding.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we had talked about, feeding Dr. Hogan some tasty treats today. I decided I need a little more time to prepare.
She has to do some prep work.
Yeah. Because I think that in addition to doing like some dog taste testing, she's also going to do some safe things, like human foods.
Foods.
Yeah, human foods that are safe for animals
Not
as
that
well.
not like as in the other things that she was going to feed me were unsafe.
Well, no, but safe human foods that you can
Watch
give as
Crystal
treats.
poison me on Facebook Live.
But if you're a willing participant, is it still illegal?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
it is. I think so. I don't know.
Hey, Henry.
I mean, it's at least probably like involuntary manslaughter or something. There's Henry's
But it's
little
not
paper face.
involuntary. It would be voluntary.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer person.
I don't know.
But yeah, that was Henry Winkler. So he, unleashed all of his bladder in the room. But he's had some drugs today.
Yeah, he got his nails done.
He got his nails done. He got a bath. He got a whole lot of stuff. Ears cleaned. Whole shebang.
So if at any point anyone has questions either regarding what we're discussing today or just in general, something else you have questions about, feel free to just shoot those in the comments. We'll hopefully see them and get to them.
No promises.
No promises.
Depends on how Facebook is feeling today.
Yeah. But if you're popping on, say hello. We can't see who's watching, just that we have currently 4 people watching. So, but today, we're talking about breeding and the different steps to take if you are going to breed your pet. And, what kind of problems you may run into. And kind of just what to expect when it comes to breeding. So we all love puppies. They're cute, but it's not all about just having puppies or kittens, either one.
Kittens.
So, yeah.
Not a whole lot of people that I think intentionally breed cats.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that just kind of more just happens. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, play your song. Do your dance.
You're like so in charge today. I don't know. Oh my god. All right. So,
So
what do you want to start with? Maybe things to do before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about
Before, during, after.
First, come up with a reason why you're wanting to breed your pet, and think about, is your pet maybe quality material? That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Do they have health issues? Do they have allergies? Do they have hip issues or what? Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at him because
Oh.
now he's gonna start making all kinds of noise, but it's fine.
Well,
He's got his puppy monkey baby. He's fine.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, does your pet, is it physically a good specimen, I guess?
And in addition to that, personality-wise,
Yeah.
like maybe you don't breed an animal that's aggressive or like super fearful, because some of those things are genetic. Obviously it's a combination of nature and nurture, but those things can also be passed down to puppies. So if that is not a desirable animal, both physically, psychologically, those things get passed down to the puppies. So why are we breeding that animal?
Right.
To make a lot of money is not a good reason.
No.
No, because if you're doing it right, you're probably not making a lot of money. Quite honestly.
Right.
So I've heard people say, well, it was an expensive dog, so I figured we'd breed her a couple times and try to make some money off of her. That's not a good reason. No, that's not.
And if you're wanting to breed to have, I want a puppy because this dog is just the best dog I've ever had, and they're great. That doesn't guarantee that any of those puppies are going to resemble your dog.
Right. Again, it's nature and nurture. So while, yes, genetics can set them up, for a certain personality type, it's also all the experiences and everything that your pet went through that made them the way that they are. So,
right.
Yeah, you're not going to get a little cloned version of your favorite dog.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
So, yeah,
even with literal cloning, it doesn't work that way. So, yeah, that's not a good reason.
So do we want to go into, we printed,
Well, I just got some examples of some things. So just kind of, so starting with, before, so like Crystal said, thinking about the reasons that you went to breed your pet. I think also talking about, I don't know what he's doing, making sure that they're physically healthy, but also making sure that there's nothing underlying that could get passed to puppies. And again, focusing more on puppies just because people aren't usually intentionally breeding their cats. So, looking at some of the pre-breeding exams and testing that should be done. So just a basic physical for sure. Looking for anything obvious, that's abnormal. Looking at, do they have any STDs? That's a thing that can happen. And we don't want that getting passed around. There's one that's called brucellosis. And it is something that is zoonotic, meaning it can be transferred to people as well. So that's no bueno. So we want to do some testing before you're going to breed them to make sure that that's not an infection that they have, right. Both males and females. But also, from a genetic sort of side, we're looking for things like hip dysplasia. Henry. Yeah, it's Henry Winkler, causing all kinds of trouble. So we're looking for things like hip dysplasia. There's some genetic markers for some different abnormalities. So I printed off from the OFA website. Do you know what OFA stands for? I'm putting you on the spot.
No.
Orthopedic Foundation for Animals.
No.
So it's orthopedic. So originally, I think they mostly just did hip dysplasia. So looking at hip x-rays, which a preliminary can be done earlier, but to get them certified, they have to be 2 years old. Grandpa says hi, Henry Winkler. He's like, what? So that's something that's done typically, at least with sedation, because we need very specific views, and then those x-rays are reviewed by a radiologist, and they look at the hips and they say, are they poor, fair, good, or excellent. Obviously, we don't want to be breeding animals with fair or poor hips.
And they cannot be done until they're, 2 years?
2, yeah. To get certification, they have to be 2. Like I said, there could be a preliminary done sooner than that, but to be officially certified, they have to be 2. Mm-hmm. There's another version of that called the pen hip, which some people say is a little bit better. There's some different ways of doing that. They can pick up more subtle cases, so it's a little bit more sensitive. But not everybody does that, whereas most general practitioners would be okay with doing OFA rads, because it's a special certification that you need for pen hip. So it's probably more expensive as well. So so that's
the cost of these things. It's not cheap,
right.
Which is why Dr. Hogan was saying if you're planning to breed for money, if you're doing the things that you should be doing, such as the OFA X-rays, you're not going to make a ton of money. We had one person come in and he said, we paid $1,000 for this dog, and somewhere, I don't know if it was her mom or one of the other dogs there, had like 11 puppies. So he's like, that's $11,000. Well, but how much did they spend on all of this testing? And did they get $1,000 for each puppy? Did they, who knows? So.
And these are things too to look for if you're in the market for purchasing a puppy. What is the difference between a $200 puppy and a $2,000 puppy? These are things that you should be asking that breeder about and that they should know. And if they don't know, they're probably not a quality breeder. I'm okay with if they're like, well, we don't do this because X. Okay, as long as you've thought through it and whatever they're telling you sounds logical, then okay, cool. But in general, these are things that should be done. So I just printed out a couple of them just for some of the more common breeds that I see being bred. So labs, what was on the list for labs? So like I said, this is on the OFA website, so this is not just OFA films, but they also do genetic testing. He's like slanted to you. He's so drunk.
So for labs, it says hip dysplasia.
Of course, hip dysplasia. Most large breed dogs, it's going to be hips and or elbows.
Yeah, it says elbows.
Yeah.
Eye exam. Exercise-induced collapse.
Yeah, so that's a DNA test for that one.
D locus.
Yeah, it's a dilute DNA test. Yeah.
Centronuclear myopathy.
Yeah, so these are just some of the genetic diseases that we see or genetic linked diseases that we can see in the breeds. So that's why there's certain things that are recommended for certain breeds, but not others. Cardiac eval, which they said for labs is optional, which I would agree with. Labs aren't known for having heart issues. However, the other breed that I pulled, and that was why I picked one large and one small, was the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Adorable, sweet little dogs. Complete genetic train wrecks. I mean, maybe not as bad as a Frenchie, but they're usually, they have a lot of things, and especially for those guys, cardiac evaluation, it needs to happen. That they need an echocardiogram before breeding because that's a big deal. And for a lot of Cavaliers, it's not if, it's when they're going to get heart disease. So they're really sweet, great little dogs, but they have a lot of health issues that need to be taken into account. So that's on your next, it's on their back page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else did it have for?
It also said the PRCD.
What?
PRA DNA test.
Oh, it's an optional one. Yeah.
Let's see, does it say anything?
No, there's nothing on that.
Well,
that's a trash page. It wasn't even supposed to print that.
I was reading to see if there was anything important.
Well, there wasn't.
So for the Cavaliers, it says hip dysplasia, eye exam, patellar luxation, which we have not talked about yet.
So again, that's more of a small dog issue. We don't see that so much in the large guys. So do their kneecaps stay in place where they belong? And that's usually something we don't necessarily need x-rays to tell that. We can usually feel that on just a physical exam, but it's something to keep in mind. There's some small breed dogs that we see that their patellas, their kneecaps, basically live on the inside of their knee where it should not be. And then that's going to cause long-term, it's going to cause arthritis and some other health issues. So, yeah, parents with bad knees like that probably should not be bred.
Sounds like some sort of song.
We'll write a song about it.
This one also says cardiac evaluation, which we talked about.
Which, yes. Like, that's like number one.
That one doesn't even say optional.
Well, no.
Well, none of these do for
Not for
the
a Cavalier.
Cavalier.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal for those guys. So yeah, I mean, so we're talking, a few $100s worth of testing already up front. Also, prior to even considering breeding your pet, they need to be vaccinated.
Yes.
Why?
Because if they are not vaccinated, the puppies are not going to have any protection when they're born.
Yeah, because mom cannot pass on maternal antibodies if she doesn't have any antibodies to pass on.
Yeah.
So they need to be fully vaccinated.
Plus, we don't want mom getting sick while she's pregnant with the puppies.
Right. Yes, for sure. So this all needs to happen before you even breed your dog.
Before it's even a thought.
Yeah. They need to be on heartworm prevention. They need to have a fecal that's negative, or deworm them, or some combination of both of those things. Those are basic. If you can't do basic medical care, you have no business breeding your pet.
Exactly.
So
I second that.
yeah. Sorry about you, but you don't.
The other thing I always tell people, make sure that you have money for a C-section.
Well, see, that was going to be like part of my during. We can move on to during then.
Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm thinking like before.
Well,
as
sure.
Well, you should be
Sure.
considering what happens if my dog cannot have her puppies.
Mhm.
Because that is something that happens, and
Yep.
any bulldog cannot have babies naturally. It's not going to happen. So you should plan on what, $2,000
At least 2,000.
for a C-section.
At least.
And that's to say that none of the puppies or mom doesn't need life-saving treatment.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, which I hate to be morbid, but I wouldn't personally put any of my, I mean, I only have one female and she's 14 years old, but if I was the person like, oh, I want a puppy from one of my dogs, I'm not going to put my female through pregnancy with a chance that something is going to happen to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my personal opinion on that. And all of this, as most of you know, I'm not big on breeding. That's putting it nicely. But I wouldn't put one of my favorite dogs through that just because I'm worried something would happen. So if you don't have $2,000 or you're not able to come up with $2,000 for a C-section, I would be leery about breeding. Because it may end up being an emergency situation where we have to get those puppies out now. So yeah, go to your during.
So, I mean, really, yeah, so making sure. So how long are dogs pregnant?
I don't even know. It's like 64 days or 63
It's 62,
days.
63
Yeah.
is about average. Yeah, somewhere in there. That's average. I mean, obviously, just like people can go over or under. So maybe we plan for that. She's laughing because we had this happen recently. Maybe we plan to not have something major going on, if at all possible,
Like going out of the country.
when those babies are going to be due. It's just a thought. I don't know. I'm
Maybe
crazy.
pre-plan it.
I'm kind of nutty like that. And I get things come up, but yeah. Like maybe you don't have a vacation plan somewhere. Like, oh, we're going to be taking a cruise during that time. Well, maybe we should wait till the next heat cycle to breed that dog,
Maybe.
just a thought. So yeah, so that's a thing. So keep that in mind. Their gestation period is very short, so just a couple of months. So again, keeping mom safe and healthy during that time, making sure she's got good nutrition. Many
Put her
times
on a
they may
puppy
need to
food.
go on like a puppy food. So they can be having those added calories that'll go to those babies, and then also, once they have the babies, they're going to be lactating, and so that's an increased calorie need as well. So
And it was
typically,
wonderful.
not be food for a while, or at least until those babies are weaned. So, yes, because otherwise they need more calorie density. Otherwise they can't eat enough, and they'll get real skinny, and that's not good for anybody either. Or they won't make enough milk, and that's not good for those babies.
True.
So, yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
I don't either.
So I mean that's the big things I think during. Also, as you get closer to time, within the last couple of weeks, start checking your lady's temperature. Your ladies. Not like your wife, but
that sounded weird.
It's weird. The female dog's temperature.
And no, you can't just put it in her. That
mouth.
sounds really weird. You can't put the thermometer in her mouth.
Or an
not
ear
gonna work.
thermometers don't really.
No.
They're not very accurate either. They're usually off by a few degrees.
Tell them how to do it.
It's a rectal temperature, so we are putting that thermometer in their butts once a day. Keep it consistent around the same time of the day, so like morning or evening. What we're watching for and what we're tracking for is to see when their temperature drops. That usually means that they're going to be having those babies within like 24 hours or so. So we're looking for that temperature drop so that we know to be ready to be prepared and good to go.
Be ready to be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not be ready and prepared.
No. Shut up. You know, I can't talk.
Okay.
So we're making sure that we know timing wise, because typically if you're breeding your pet, you know about how long it has been, but as I said, some of these things can vary a little bit. So checking that temperature at least during the last couple of weeks of gestation daily.
Yep.
And so then you know you should probably be home.
Be ready
Be ready
to be
to
prepared.
be prepared. Put it on a t-shirt. And so be around, pay attention, make sure mom's got a good wellbeing box. They usually like something, either a box or like little those plastic baby pools can be used. Lots of blankets and puppy pads and all kinds of things.
I feel like he's pulling me.
He's just pulling you. He's so tough.
Strong.
He's so strong, Henry Winkler. So, other things that you need to have on hand. Formula. Yeah.
So let's say your baby doesn't want to be a mom. She don't want no babies.
Sometimes it happens. Some of them are not good moms.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody thinks it's just instinct, but just like people, some of them are not good moms. Not you. Don't worry. You're a great mom.
Oh. You have to say that for life.
I would be a terrible mom.
I think it would come out of you.
But
You wouldn't be happy about it, but you do it.
So have formula ready and available. Be ready to be prepared. And a pair of hemostats, a little clamp in case we need to clamp umbilical cords. Either like suture or a little bit of fishing line would be fine for tying off cords. Majority of the time, mom will take care of all of that, and she'll pull the sack off and chew the cord and everything, and you don't have to.
All of it.
Yeah, she'll probably eat a lot of it, but not always. Like I said, some of them are not good moms, and so sometimes you end up doing those things for them. So give them a chance to do it first, but if it's not happening, then step in and start helping.
Be ready to be prepared.
Be ready to be prepared. Also, keep in mind that some of them are really, really protective moms. So watch yourself.
Even with
people that they know, but especially with strangers. Some of those mamas are not a fan of strangers handling their babies. So especially those girls, you don't want a bunch of extra people around. Keep it small. This isn't a party. So what?
No, I'm nothing. You know how my mind works. I was just thinking about
What?
people with like those party hats are all around a mommy having her cake and like
And those little whatever the little noisemaker things.
Yeah.
So like
a party.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like Girly was not offended by us.
No, she
handling
was,
her puppies. She didn't
really
care at all.
great,
She
though.
was fine. But yeah, not all of them are that amenable to it.
And I want to mention too, we talked about having the formula on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them how often babies need to eat if your mama dog is not a good mom.
Every 2 hours.
Round the clock.
Round the clock. Not like every 2 hours just while you're awake. Every 2 hours.
We had someone.
So that's fun.
This was years and years ago, before here.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in and, he had bred his female dog, and apparently she did not want those babies.
Yeah.
And he was so upset and like, well, what else can I do? I can't keep feeding them like this. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. This was your life choice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't feed those babies, they're going to die.
Yes.
So you're going to have to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, I have to work.
Cool.
I can't help you.
Yeah.
So
That's why those are things that you should think of before.
Yeah. So I don't know what ended up happening with those puppies. I think he figured it out somehow. But yeah, it's every 2 hours. For how long?
At least a couple of weeks. Usually once they hit like the 2-3 week mark, you can start spacing stuff out a little bit more. It's just a matter of how much their stomachs are stretched or not. Usually around like 3-4 weeks, they're usually starting to wean. So you don't have to do as much then either. But yeah, I mean, you're talking a good couple weeks if from day one.
14, 21 days, something.
Yeah.
Somewhere between there.
Yeah. So that's no fun for anyone. So we always hope that mom nurses fine.
Or what if her milk
and
doesn't
produces
come in?
enough? Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
What if she doesn't have enough?
Mastitis or something like that we end up having to pull those puppies and she can't nurse whether she wants to or not. So they're all things that can happen.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And then not only that, and then. I'm surprised you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
Dude,
where's my car?
Shocking.
What's mine say?
Dude. Sweet. So and then when those puppies are big enough, I mean, they're gonna be puppies are gonna be a huge mess. Like when they're teeny tiny, like newborn, they don't really go anywhere or do any. I mean, it's just like people babies. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's another thing to talk about too. If mom is not a good mom, you're gonna have to make those puppies pee and poop. You're gonna have to stimulate them to go to the bathroom because they don't just do that on their own.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, once they start getting real mobile and they're getting weaned and stuff, then the real fun happens. The real messes. And peeing, pooping, and dancing in it. You have to bathe them all the time. So it's a lot of work. And then they need vaccines. So typically starting around 6 weeks of age, they'll get their first vaccination. Those babies should not leave mom until a minimum of 8 weeks. But usually closer to 10 to 12 is actually better for them. So yeah. They need at least 1 round, potentially 2 rounds of vaccines.
While they're in your care.
While they're in your care. And that is your financial responsibility as well. So that's why, like we said, this is not something that anybody should look at as a money-making endeavor. Yes, the puppy mills make money because they're doing a big-ass job of it.
And they're doing it round the clock.
Yeah, they're doing it around the clock. And they're, they're not producing quality animals, and they're keeping those animals in horrible conditions. So, yes, they make money because they don't do it right. They don't treat them well, and they don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that most people that own a dog and want to breed it, they actually care about that dog, and they want what's best for them. So, and they want what's best for those puppies. So, yeah, that's why to do it correctly, you ain't making big bank.
No.
Mm-mm.
And I want to go back and say, I understand the people who are like, I really love my dog and I want one of their puppies.
Sure.
I get it. I think that it's a sweet thought and all of that, but you're not going to guarantee that your dog is going to have 1 puppy
Yeah.
Or if you want a male, that it's going to have a male or it's going to have a female. So what happens if you do have one of those dogs that has 12 puppies? And you may be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Now what are you doing with all those babies?
It happens.
Yeah.
So now because you wanted one puppy, you've now brought in 11 others that, where are they going to go? Even if you have 2 or 3 friends that are like, oh, well, I'll take a puppy if you have extras. Well, that's great, but what about all the other ones? Or what if mom does get sick and ends up passing away, or whatever? I just think overall, in general, and I don't agree with it. And I tell people too, because I actually had a friend who was wanting to breed, and I said, you know what? Before you decide to do that, because they had a pit bull, and I love pit bulls, but I said, before you decide to breed your pit bull, who is not up to date on vaccines, go to a shelter, at least one, and tell me how many pit bulls and how many puppies and pit bull puppies you see at that shelter, and then tell me you still think it's a good idea to bring more into the world. Tell me tell me you honestly believe that that's the best thing that you can do for your dog. Because I don't think it is.
No, for sure.
And again, these are my opinions. This is not her opinion, but I don't agree with it. 95% of the time.
Yeah. I think it's, like I said, it's really hard to do it correctly. And so I think just doing it as like a one-off hobby sort of thing, I don't think that most people are prepared or have the knowledge base for that. There's just a lot that goes into it. And if you have questions about a specific breed or specific animal and breeding them, I mean, definitely let your veterinarian know, and they'd be happy to go over what all should be done beforehand. Not like, hey, we're gonna breed this dog tomorrow. Well, then you too late. So you might have to wait till next time around if you really want to do this right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, these are things. It takes planning. It takes money. And also, just a side note.
And then
as a side note, if you have an intact male and an intact female in your home, it don't matter if they related. It doesn't matter. They don't care. So
we had people. Oh well, they're siblings.
Yeah. They don't care.
It's like they're from Arkansas. It doesn't. Too much. Too much. They don't care.
They don't care. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If there is an intact female and there is an intact male, baby's gonna happen.
There could be.
Or at least gonna try.
Mom and brother.
Brother, uncle.
Brother, uncle.
Brother, dad.
They could be mom and baby. They could be dad and.
I don't even know.
His sister. I don't know.
Yeah. It's yeah, and if you have an intact female, you need to not leave her unattended. If she's outside, I would take her out on a leash, because those boys will find her. They will jump fences. They do not care.
They will break through glass.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor actually, and he was like, we had a male and a female, and neither one of them were fixed, and that he chewed through their garage. Mm-hmm. Like that when they left the house, they would put her, I don't remember, somewhere in the house, and they would put him in the garage, mm-hmm. and he chewed through their wall to get into the house to get her. Yeah. So it happens. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. It just made me think of a song.
What song? Go ahead, sing it for us.
Oh, I'm not going to sing.
What?
No.
You just whisper in my ear. I'll sing and you can dance.
You probably don't know the song anyway.
Probably not. That's true.
What you doing, Henry? He's like, I'm just being drunk.
He said, hiya, Crystal.
And falling over. And
you want to close up?
He says he wants to be on the video.
Oh, it's scary.
Oh, he's so offended.
Oh, no.
He says, don't film me.
Okay.
Don't film me on camera.
toenails look pretty on point though, friend. Hi,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, if you think of any other questions, definitely let us know. Or call your veterinarian. Like I said, they can help guide you through the process and what needs to happen, especially for your specific breed. Since he's ready to go.
And if you're breeding, I don't hate you. I just think it's a poor life choice. Why do you keep laughing?
Well, then that just made me think of you.
That I'm a poor life choice.
Crystal, if you're breeding,
I'm not breeding
I don't
anymore.
hate you. I just think it's a poor life choice.
I agree with that. I also think that my life was a poor life choice. I've made many bad life choices.
Oh man.
We won't go there. We don't have time for that.
I don't have time for that.
That could be a different
a therapy session.
It could be a different segment.
Oh my god. Oh.
Crystal's poor life
That's
decisions.
poor life decisions. Next up, next week on Facebook Live. All right. Well, like I said, let us know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we will see you next week, and maybe Crystal will get her act together and get some not delicious snacks for me.
No, I think some of them will be delicious.
Some of them will.
Yeah.
I
Are you
don't
going to have a whole lot of trust in me eat those?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? You're not going to be worried?
No.
Not at all?
But I am gonna have a glass of water and a paper towel.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.